Guys, first of all, can we talk about this lighting situation? I am extremely pleased with it. So let's hope that you guys could see it as well as I do on my end. Because if you could see how I've got myself rigged up right now, I wasn't even prepared to speak on video today. And I really hope somebody hops on soon because I need you guys to let me know if I'm on the right page, like I always ask, and how everything looks. Again, I really wasn't prepared to speak today. So when you guys hop on, can you let me know if I'm on the SPWF page? Let's make sure I'm there and I'm not on my personal page because I always have to ask that question when I start a live video because my Facebook and everything is jacked up. Okay. I thought these were our members' comments, but I guess my app updated overnight and Facebook is giving me messages about putting a mask on for a fun look. I am not even going to mess with my phone. At the end of this video, I will flip my camera and show you how I have this rigged up with my lighting, and it's just not good right now. But I promised you guys on my last video, not last week, I didn't make one last week, but the week before. Hi, Susie. Hi, Karen. Hi, Carolyn. I'm so happy you guys are hopping on. Just let me know I'm on the Strong Prison Wives page. Give me some likes or some thumbs up or some whatever faces that you guys like, and let me know that, or comment and let me know that I'm on the SPWF page and not my personal page because I made that mistake once or twice, and I do not thank you for the thumbs up. I didn't want to do that again. So I told you guys in my last video that I was going to talk about pictures, like lighting and all kinds of fun tips and tricks that I use for for videos to make for you guys, but also for pictures to send to my loved one on the inside to help with like editing and lighting and all that fun stuff because I got that request. And also I am going to do another one on workbooks and journals and things that you could do and pass along through the mail or email or JPay or even on the phone at visit. Fun things for you guys to help with your relationship. But I wasn't I was prepared to do one of those today. I have notes that I've had for a while, but I wasn't going to film today. So what happened was, you guys that know me, there might be some of you guys that don't know me. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Ro. I am the founder of Strong Prison Wives and Families, and I use my years of experience to help support, encourage, and empower prison wives and girlfriends, family members, loved ones, while their loved ones are inside and well beyond the sentence. I am a life coach and I use the skills and all of the training that I had to help you guys get past the pain and the hardships and all of that stuff that I had to feel while I was doing it by myself. So the reason I'm on here today, thank you already for the hearts and the thumbs up, and also introduce yourselves and make sure you guys connect in the comments, because what I also do is I connect people. I had a friend one time call me a connector, and for some reason that was like the greatest compliment to me, because I want you guys to meet each other, to make friends in this life, because people in other walks of life, unless they do this, do not understand what we go through, and they're not going to be able to offer the same type of support that we offer to one another. So some of my closest friends in the whole entire world are people that I've met through SPWF. Now, the reason that I just picked up my camera and filmed today, I did not have a stitch of makeup on my face until about 5 minutes ago. Went to work, I went to the gym, I hopped in the shower really quick, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, I really need to make a video. Because when I find the need to support my sisters, when I'm going through something or one of my friends is going through something, I pick up the phone and or my camera, and I make a video. Because it's not fair to share only the good things and the life coaching things and everything is hunky-dory and fine and dandy with you guys if I don't share the real life stuff and the struggles that a lot of us go through. Because then it's not real. Then you're like, I can't relate to that girl. So I want to share vulnerabilities. Okay. So I usually have notes. I usually have at least bullet points that I want to go through, and I don't today. So I'm going off the cuff. And like I said, I want to share some stuff, like I said in my title. I want to share some stuff that I've been going through, that I went through in my past that I never shared with anybody. This is the first time I'm ever sharing it publicly. The only people that really know this are my really, really, really close handful of friends from when I was younger, and also a few of my siblings, because I have a lot of siblings. Marlene went to visit. you have to text me or Snapchat me and tell me all about it. Marlene finally went to visit. And this is what I mean about being a connector and meeting some really close friends. Like Marlene and I will Snapchat each other sometimes. And she was telling me how she was able to finally get her visits back after a while. So I'm so excited and supportive of her. So let me know. Anyway, so it's going to be an off-the-cuff video. But and the reason I'm doing this is because we have a lot of really young members who can use this guidance. We also have a lot of members who are going through some bad situations, and some of them are in abusive situations, some of them are in controlling situations, some of them are trying to control situations themselves and holding on with a death grip and white knuckling something that isn't necessarily conducive to their life or adding to their life anymore. So I want to address all of those by sharing my past. And the reason I'm sharing these secrets and just things that I've been through before is that I don't want you to think I'm standing on a pedestal and preaching down to you from a soapbox. I want you guys to know that I teach you guys from my experiences. I do not think I am perfect. I am very far from it. So I want to give you the advice as an older sister or somebody that has been there and has done it and has messed up, has fallen on my face, has figured out how to pick myself up and brush myself off, even if it took a really long time, and get to the other side of it. Am I perfect now because I did? Absolutely not. I was just having struggles in my relationship a couple of weeks ago when I shared with you guys on a video not that long ago around the 4th of July that I messed up and it almost cost me my relationship. So no way in any stretch of the imagination do I think I'm anywhere near perfect or I've learned it all or I've mastered this crazy thing that we're trying to all navigate called life. But I do have a handle on some of this that you guys are struggling on. So let me pass this along. So let's start with when I was in college. I was dating this guy for probably 2 years, maybe 3 years. And we had this on and off, tumultuous, just really passionate in not always the best way relationship. And it got crazy for a little while, and he was in the Marines, so he had some, and this isn't offensive to anybody that's in the military, but he was in the Marines because a judge sentenced him to either the Marines or jail, and he chose the Marines. So he had a lot of issues from childhood that he didn't work out, and he brought those into our relationship. And then being in the military kind of brought those out even more in him. So he was kind of an unstable person. And in turn, I was a young, I don't know, I wasn't even 20 at the time yet. I was an unstable person trying to figure out how to grow up and how to act in a relationship. And sometimes I was a brat, and sometimes we just clashed. And it was this really heated, not positive relationship that went on for way too long. And I stayed with him for reasons that I shouldn't, but I did. Well, I moved home in December of that year, whatever year it was a long time ago. And he was still in the military, so he stayed down. We were all living in a house right before I moved home. It was him, his twin sister, his cousin, and me. And his sister had moved home before us. She just didn't like it down there. They were from like up in the northeast area, and not from where I'm from, and then in New England. And his cousin stayed down there for a little while because she was dating this guy, and I moved home because I graduated. So I'm sorry if I'm babbling. Somebody just like smack me and be like, all right, let's go. But his cousin and I became really good friends because we all lived together in the same house. So after I was home for about a month and he got really weird and shady with me, his cousin called me up and she was like, I have to tell you something. He's cheating on you. So I confronted him about it, and he admitted it, and we decided, against my better judgment, but I was crazy at the time, that we were going to try to work through it. I'm laughing at Anna. That obviously didn't work out in a good way because I was young, I was insecure, we were 500 miles apart. He was in North Carolina at the time. I was home in New Jersey. So I decided like a couple of weeks later, this isn't working. We're just going to break this off. That night, literally the night that I said, or maybe a couple days later, that I was like, I'm done. One of my friends here was like, let's go out. I'm going to take you out. We're going to go to there was this festival, and we went there and we met a whole bunch of his friends. I hit it off with one of his friends really well. And so the timing was insane, right? So at one point in the night, he was being a little flirty, and he goes, so where's your boyfriend? I said, oh, he cheated on me last week. And I remember him, like, all of his friends, their eyes were like, whoa. Like, that is damaged goods, huh? So, that wound up being an on and off tumultuous 10-year relationship with this new guy. So I jumped from one into another one, which I do not, first red flag, do not do. I do not think that is good advice. If somebody tells you to get over somebody by getting into a different relationship, I almost use a very derogatory, vulgar phrase that you guys, I'm sure, know, but I don't believe that rebound relationships are always healthy. But that was 100% a rebound relationship. And it was a relationship, I really liked him. Like, I wound up really liking him. He wound up being a playboy. He would hit on younger girls in front of me. He would take girls home while we were out together and leave me in bars by myself. He, one time, hooked up with one of my friends in the backseat of my car while I was driving, a girl that I worked with, who I brought out with me that night. He wound up meeting us out. I'm driving everybody home, and he starts making out with her in the backseat of my car. Mind you guys, I'm only like 24 or 25 at this time. But the point in telling you guys this is this relationship lasted for 10 years. I put myself in a position where he knew at that point, this was all building on top of each other. He knew one thing he did that was wrong, and I was like, I'll take you back, right? So he cheated on me the first time I found out about it. I'm like, I like you so much. I'm going to look past it. I'm going to take you back. Then he did it again, left me in a club, went home with a girl. I'm not proud of any of this, you guys. I'm embarrassed to be admitting this, but you live and you learn, and you use your experiences of vulnerability to pass along experiences to help people. So he did that. We called me the next day. We made up for some stupid reason. I took him back. Then this thing with my friend in the car, same thing. I took him back, and this went on and on and on and on and on again for 10 years. Well, let me ask you a question. When you're in a relationship and somebody pushes you to a point where he does something and you allow him to disrespect you and then you take him back, there's kind of like a threshold that he knows now that he could surpass. Then he does something else that's like over here and you take him back. There's a threshold that just moved further out towards disrespect that he just passed. Then he does something else, okay? So you guys, I want to interrupt myself. Let's make sure that we're remaining respectful. I'm not reading the comments. I can't see through my light, but let's just make sure that we're remaining respectful in the comments. I am not using my experiences to bash anybody. I think we have maybe 20,000 members on the Facebook page. I don't want anyone to think, and probably 18 or 19 of them, if not all 20 of us, have been in this situation, and a lot of them and us are. So I don't want anyone to think that we're judging or giving stigma or being like prison wives fighting against prison wives. That's not what this is about. What it's about is helping you guys see your self-worth. Because when I was allowing myself to be treated like that, first of all, I was telling him, you could do whatever hurtful thing you want to me, and I have such little self-respect and dignity that I will continue to take you back. I will continue to allow you to abuse me. Not only am I saying that to him, I am putting that out there into the world. I am putting that out there into the universe. And not to get university and frou, if you don't believe that, just hear me out. Psychologically, you're putting out there that people could treat you less than you deserve to be treated, that people can disrespect you. So your boss will probably look you over when there's some sort of raise or something that you deserve to get, because you're not putting out there commanding of what you deserve, commanding of respect. You're not asking for what you deserve. You need to put out there, this is what I will tolerate. This is what I will not tolerate. Now, during those 10 years, when I was with that guy, all of my friends, every single one of my friends but one, was like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You deserve so much more than this. Why are you putting up with somebody who treats you like a 2 when you're a 10? Why? Every single one of you guys, every single one of us is a 10. Don't put up with a 1 or a 2. Don't put up with anything less than a 10. Okay? Now, not every man is perfect, but I'm telling you right now, the one I am with treats me like a 10. All day, every day treats me like a 10. Why aren't you in a relationship where he treats you like a 10? So I had one girlfriend she was a lot younger than me at the time. She was probably freshly 21, and I was probably like 26, 27 at this point. And maybe not that old. Maybe I was like mid-20s, but she was still younger than me. Maybe she wasn't even in her 20s yet. I don't know. But she was extremely, like pathetically insecure. So she would always validate my bad decisions to make herself feel better. She would always validate my bad decisions because I would be in a situation where I was in a situation that was worse than her, so it made her feel better about herself. It made her feel almost like she had a partner in crime because she was so insecure that she needed a misery loves company type of situation. So what I learned to do in my messed up state was I would ask people for advice, and then people stopped giving me advice. People started telling me, you're on your own with this one. I would only go to her and ask her for advice because I knew that she would validate everything that in my heart and in my gut I knew wasn't right. I would tell people all the time, I know that this isn't right. I just need to be here. Here's the thing. I woke up 10 years later and it still wasn't right. My younger sister is in an physically abusive relationship. And when I meet with her, because we don't speak very often and I don't see her physically very often because I will not go around her boyfriend because I do not trust him, and I won't put myself in a situation where I'm either in one of their places of business because there's cameras and I will not be anywhere near him, or in their house. But when I confront her about it in public when we meet, and I ask her, are you ready yet? And she says, or I say something about, you know this isn't right because you've admitted this to me. And she says yes. And I said, well, then what are you still doing here? And she says, I'm not ready yet. And I said, well, listen, honey, I get that. I understand that. But when are you going to be ready? Because you can't make a leopard change his spots, to use a cliche. You can't change somebody that doesn't want to change themselves. You can't change somebody who doesn't want to change, period. You shouldn't want to change somebody. I said to my sister, you're going to wake up one day at 60 years old, possibly, not have parents left, potentially, not have your siblings left to support you because you've pushed them all away with these horrible things that he's done to our family, and we had to stop speaking to you and him. You're going to wake up one day and realize, I knew that I shouldn't have been in this relationship, but I wouldn't allow myself to be ready to do it until I woke up and I was too late, or until he finally crumbled your heart so bad and he found somebody else and finally kicked you out on your ass, because this guy has a reputation of going after younger, prettier girls. So what's going to happen when he finally finds one that sticks? What's going to happen? What I'm trying to tell you through this, and again, I don't have notes to make my point. Sorry, I just glitched. So I'm rambling as things come to my mind, but I always think that you guys, I'm saying what somebody needs to hear. And this is just kind of one of those, like, let's sit down. I'm on the bed. It's very informal. Let's talk. Maybe I could speak to somebody's heart right now. Maybe I can help somebody who needs my help. So I had another point that came up. So back to my relationship with the guy that was on and off 10 years. Bad situation, like so embarrassing that I think of it now. And I was at work one day, and I had one girlfriend at work, not the one that was younger that validated all my decisions. Like we didn't work together. We were friends. She was actually a family friend. Our parents were friends, and then we became really good friends. But this other girl who I kind of trusted, and at the time she was so much older. At the time she was the age that I am now, which is really young. But I would kind of give her like glimpses of that relationship, and looking back now, whoa, it was TMI. Whoa, it's so embarrassing. Whoa, I should have never shared half the stuff that I did, or did half the stuff that I did. But I would share things with her. And I remember one time he went down to Miami, and I was pissed because I didn't know about it. I didn't know who he was with. And I really deep down knew he was with a girl that lived down there, because somebody told me he was dating a girl that was in Miami. But I didn't want to believe it. So I was telling my girlfriend this at work, and she just looked, and I will never, as long as I live, forget this. She goes, you cannot control him. You cannot control another adult. You should never try to control another adult. He is going to do what he wants to do, and you have to learn how to be okay with that. The only thing that you can control is the way you react to the things that he does. It's yourself. If you're upset with him for going to Miami, what will you do about that? You can't control him. You can't stop a grown-up from going to Miami. You can't stop a grown-up from doing the things that he as an adult chooses and wants to do. And if it's something like cheating on you, nothing that you will do, nothing that you will say, no amount of crying, no amount of anything will stop him from doing, as an adult, as a grown-up, what he wants to do. You are not his mother. You're not his ball and chain. You're not a pair of handcuffs. He needs to respect you and do things and treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. And you can't control him in any way to make him treat you any differently. If he's not treating you the way that you want to be treated, there is nothing in this world that you can do or say that will change that. You cannot control him. You cannot control his behavior towards you. You cannot control his behavior towards anybody, nor should you try to control another person, because it works two ways. There aren't just relationships where men control women in this world. There are relationships where women can try to control controlling men because they feel like they're being controlled, or they're trying to control abusive men because they're grasping. They're trying to control neglectful men because they're grasping. But the question I need to ask you, if you're in that situation, girls, especially if he's controlling you from behind the wall, is why do you feel like you don't deserve anything better? What can you begin to do to realize how much more you deserve? What can you do to take steps right now so you're not wasting more years of your life, especially when you're putting it on hold because he's in prison and you know in the back of your mind that he's not right? You know deep down inside that this relationship is not the right one for you because he treats you like crap, but you're holding on and grasping because you need to control it and you're going to change it. Sweethearts, I love you with my whole heart, and I'm telling you that you will never be able to change a man, and you should never try to change a man. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't change himself and his behavior after he goes inside and doesn't live in the street and that life anymore and wants to give it up. But my loves, please hear me and listen. It is coming from my heart as somebody who I just told you, and I never shared this publicly before because it's embarrassing. 10 years of my life, actually probably 14, because I went from one guy who treated me like crap to another guy for 10 years who treated me like crap, that I didn't know my self-worth, that I didn't allow myself to be confident. I somewhere, thank God, deep within, I knew it was there, that I deserved more, but I kept pushing it down because I wanted to freaking control somebody, and I wanted to freaking change somebody because I invested so much into this, and I gave myself such tunnel vision that I thought that there was only one man in this world, and that was it for me, and I invested so much that I needed to stay there, and I needed to change him, and I needed him to see me. I needed him to see me. He wouldn't see me. He's not going to see you. Stop it. Do not let a man have that power over you. Do not let anybody in this world have that power over you. Please. Please. And stop telling me you're just not ready. When are you going to be ready? When, you guys, in this short life, is it okay to waste one single day on somebody who's treating you like a piece of shit? When? And I'm getting emotional because I've helped so many people through this, and I have so many girls in the inbox, in my kick messages, in my text messages, telling me that they're not ready. When are you going to be ready? When you're 60 years old and you wake up and he's still treating you like shit and there's nobody else out there, and maybe he'll come around and be with you for a little while because that's all that's left out there. Stop. And stop pushing people away who want to help you. Stop isolating yourself in this already lonely and isolating life because you don't want to hear advice from people that love you. You don't want to hear advice from people who are your friends. You're picking and choosing and shuffling things around and going to the person who is feeding you what you want to hear. Why? Because their misery wants company. And I'm going to end it with this story. I was in a situation where I was giving somebody advice, and it wound up being really, really bad advice. And it actually wound up being really recent. And one of a very good friend, I was telling the story, and she said, "What are you doing? You're being an asshole." And I was like, "Excuse me? I'm helping somebody." "You're being an asshole. You're giving advice to somebody because you could be in her shoes eventually, and you don't want that to ever be you. So you're trying to give advice based on if that's you and what you would want to hear in that situation, not actually removed, not actually as the true friend and sister that you are. You're giving jaded advice. Opposite. I wasn't giving advice on my past. I was giving advice on what I hope my future would be and how I didn't want it to be. And I was doing that person a great disservice for a really long time. And when my friend said this to me, it was like a light bulb. And I actually got really like emotional. And I was like, that is so beyond messed up. And I'm being that friend, that one and only friend that I had for so many years who led me down the wrong road. And I woke up 10 years later and was like, what just happened to the last decade of my life? Who was I? Who was that girl? And now I'm 10 years older. What if it was 20? What if it was 30 years later? And I woke up a senior citizen and, and I didn't have many other options. Everyone that loved me was gone because I didn't want to hear them. I pushed them out of my life because I didn't want to hear them. Just make sure that you're not pushing people that you love and that love you away because maybe they're not telling you what you want to hear. Or being that girl that's giving poor advice because you want to make yourself feel better. Or staying in a bad relationship because you just think that you don't want to waste, you're not ready to give up. Or whatever it is. So I hope that my advice spoke to so many of your hearts because we have so many questions that come into the inbox so often and so just for years we've dealt with this, and women who are lacking so much self-confidence and self-worth and they're just so what's the word I'm looking for? Hurt. And they're allowing themselves to be hurt because they don't want to allow themselves to see better. They want to control and they don't want to see a situation for what it is. They want to fix instead of being with somebody that's whole. When I was in life coaching class, we were taught that you work with people who are whole, that are mentally sound, that are ready. They have it together. That's who we date, you guys, too. That's who we marry, too. You don't marry people that you need to fix. You don't date people that you need to fix. I remember I worked with this guy one time who was very wealthy, and he used to date these girls who he called fixer-uppers. And it would like make me gag. I'm like, a fixer-upper? Let me tell you, that had to be like 15 years ago. He's still single. He's gone through like all kinds of girlfriends because you don't date somebody you need to fix. You don't marry somebody you need to fix. You cannot fix. You have to let go of that fairy tale that you're going to fix somebody and they're going to be all better and you're going to waltz off into the sunset together. You have to get rid of that fairy tale that you're going to be Florence Nightingale, and you're going to save this man for my MWIs. You're going to save this man, and you're going to make everything better, and he's going to come out to you, and you're going to be the person that he owes the rest of his life to because you fixed everything. Guys, that's not why you need to be in a relationship. Guys, that is so low level, that is so insecure, that is so wrong to do to yourself. You have to operate from a more empowered place. And if you guys need help working through this, please contact me. Contact somebody you trust, but don't push people away who want to help you because they're not telling you what you want to hear. I went to a therapist one time during that 10-year span with that guy, right towards the end of it. And I remember specifically the last day I was working with her. I mean, I stopped working with her for other reasons. She was kind of like not good for me. She was very much like my mother, and I needed somebody who wasn't like my mother. So regardless, I remember being like, I was hanging out with the guy, and she goes, I go, he invited me on a ski trip, and she goes, well, maybe you should go and try to meet other guys. And I was like, what? Maybe you should go and try to meet other guys. And I was like, well, that's dumb. Like, I'd be going with him. She goes, yeah. But didn't you just tell me last week that when you were out, he was meeting other girls? And the week before that, he left you in a club and he went home with another girl. So why can't we even this playing field? Why don't you go with him and use it as an experience to maybe meet a guy that you'll eventually date for a while? And I was like, yeah, okay. Ended that session, never went back. Why? She made a really valid point. Maybe not delivered in the right way, but if you stick with therapy long enough, they usually have, they're peeling back the layers, and if you don't stay long enough, then you don't get to that bottom layer, and you're like, well, that was really weird what she said, or that was really judgmental, but it's because she's trying to get to that next level. She didn't do anything wrong in that situation. There were other things that just didn't jive with her. But the point is, I stopped going. In that moment, I drew a line in the sand. I'm like, I was like, screw this lady. I'm like, how dare she? I want to go with him because I want to be on his arm. Where she's going, you want to go with him because you want to see who he's going to be talking to. You want to go with him so you can pretend that everything is good in your life and your relationship for that week that you're there. You want to go with him because you'd be with him for a couple minutes, but you're going to come home really hurt and upset if another better girl doesn't come along that he goes to bed with that night. He might go to bed with you that night. It depends. You guys see where I'm going? Don't go only to the people that are going to fluff you and tell you what you want to hear. If people are giving you advice like that lady did to me, and you trust them and you love them and they love you back, you might want to take it with a little more than a grain of salt. And don't cut them out of your life. They're there to help you. Why would you cut them out of your life? Make sure that you guys are doing things in your best interest. And it really hurts to end a relationship. It really hurts, especially when you have a lot of time invested behind you, right? A lot of time, especially because of what we do. We wait and we wait and we wait and we wait. And you wait for it to get better, or you wait for him to fix himself, or you wait for maybe this will change him, but he doesn't want to change, and he's still doing the same crap that he was doing before, maybe worse. Maybe he's getting you involved. Maybe he's asking you to do things or contact people that you know you shouldn't be doing, or people you shouldn't be contacting, but you're waiting, and you're like, I've invested so much time. I'm going to make this work. I invested all of my time. He's going to come home to me because he owes me this. And it's his turn to come home and take care of me because I've been taking care of him for so long. Sweethearts, how's that going to end? How's that going to end for you? When you try to control somebody to do that, how's that going to end for you? If you're miserable now in your relationship and you're just putting time on it and you think it's going to get better, how do you think that's going to end? Guys, please know that I'm speaking from a place of love. Know that I'm speaking to help you. Know that when I do this and I pick up my camera and I'm so passionate, it's to help you. It's because I love you. It's because there are so many of you that need this. It's how I've been able to reach you and speak to you for 5 years. And why? Maybe it might not. Maybe you might be pissed at me. Maybe you might have shut off the camera. Maybe you're like, screw this girl and her stupid video. I am a ride or die chick and I hold it down no matter what. Maybe. But maybe in a couple years, you might say to me, you know what, Ro? I might get that message. I watched that video that day back in that late August that you made sitting on the bed relaxing, and you were going off in tangents, and it was getting a little long and crazy. And I didn't want to hear you, and I was mad. But you planted a seed. And now I am with somebody who deserves me, and we are so happy, and we are expecting our first child, and he treats me like a 10. My ex used to treat me like a -45, and I love you. So I don't need those emails, but I get them a lot. You get it? So I think I'm going to end with that. I can't even remember half the crap that spewed out of my mouth, but I knew I needed to pick up my camera today. I knew I needed to talk to you guys today. I knew I needed to pass along a message today. While we're here, just for giggles, let's flip. Let me show you how I have this all rigged up, because it's disastrous. And this is why I haven't been able to read any of your comments, because I have my phone like slid in under my light, leaning on this plastic shelving that I put like some of my spare makeup in the room downstairs that I'm filming in right now, because it's next to the router and I didn't really want to be glitchy. But let's flip it so I can show you this. Let's flip it because this is funny. And then next week, you guys, this is my light that I was telling you I got for my birthday. Finally set it up, but I didn't know how to set up. Well, there's the tripod back there, but I can't figure out how to get it on there. So we'll do that, and then I'm going to do the lighting video for you guys. So let's flip this back because I don't want you guys to be blinded by the light. Blinded by the light. Facebook's not letting me flip it. Okay, there we go. So this was like in this little drawer. This was very, very good. Good. Lauren, what's wrong, love? Anna, what's wrong, love? Lauren, what's wrong, love? Wait, okay, now I don't know if I'm going to be able to see comments anymore, but you guys, I hope we're able to take something away from this. Sorry if I got a little passionate and my eyes were getting buggy at some points, but I got really passionate. You guys keep staying strong, keep loving strong, keep supporting one another through this journey, because you're one day closer to it all being behind you. Lots of love from my heart to yours. In the meantime, make sure you keep soul searching. Make sure you're not denying what you know. Make sure you're not wasting your time, and make sure you're not pushing your friends away that love you and are trying to give you really good advice. Love you guys. Lauren, this wasn't made for you. This was made for our whole membership, because I think I've gotten 55 texts like in the past, I don't know, week or two from girls going through all of this. Bye guys. Love you.